It feels like we've got some major crisis looming in our world. Silver, gold, precious metal mining stock investors, if you are concerned about the future, if you're concerned about safety and security, you need to watch this video because I'm going to cover 7 looming crises, and we're going to review how silver, gold, precious metal mining stocks have offered refuge from these types of catastrophes, these doom scenarios that we seem to be facing on planet Earth right now. Today, I've got all that and a lot more for you. Let's get started right now. War. Think about it. That's not even a potential anymore, is it? It's going on right now. We've got major war going on in Europe. The world is splintering. China and Russia are becoming more allied with one another than any time in history. We're beginning to recognize them both as major world military powers. There's a lot of major changes going on in the world. This isn't just a traditional war. It's an economic war. It's a trade war. This is painting the whole world right now, and it also can have an impact on several of the other catastrophe scenarios, the following 6 catastrophe scenarios. Things are changing like no other time in history, and I happen to believe that 98.4% of Americans don't even realize that it's going on. So let's move on now to number 2. Financial crisis. And it's not like that hasn't been going on already for the last 20 years. We had the tech bubble burst. We had the 2008 great financial crisis. We had the financial crisis that happened during the COVID pandemic. I mean, we are living in a time of financial crisis. And point number 1, war is even affecting that even more right now. The world is splintering on a financial relationship basis. Financial crisis is a real threat in our future. We've got these huge derivative markets. We've got the U.S. government with $30 trillion in debt. I mean, the list goes on and on. But a real threat to our safety, our financial safety in the future, is financial crisis. And don't forget, at the end of the video, I'll review with you why silver and gold offer safe haven from these types of scenarios. Let's move on to number 3, weather and climate change here on planet Earth. Now, I'm not a big climate change proponent, or, I don't have super strong feelings either way. However, I think it's been proven that from a temperature of the earth perspective, water tables rising, severe weather occurrence throughout the world, that weather is becoming a major climate change, a major potential catastrophic threat in our future. And that affects the next point, number 4, food supply, one of our primary needs as humans, right? We all like to eat. They are predicting that we will have a food shortage as soon as this summer. The war in Ukraine has drastically impacted wheat supplies, wheat production. We've got major weather issues, drought issues that are affecting the food supply. And when there's not food, people get hangry. That's hungry and angry. It isn't good. So it's a realistic prospect that we're going to have food shortages, and that can lead to other issues like number 5, riots and civil unrest. We've had more protests, more rioting, more civil unrest just here in the United States over the last 10 years than I ever remember during my 52 years living in this country. But it's not just here. It's happening in Africa. It's happening in South America. It's happening in Canada. It's happening everywhere. People are angry for a number of reasons, many of which are on this list, and people are taking to the streets. And look, just think about the previous point. Food. We haven't even dealt with a food shortage yet. Imagine if these hangry people, on top of everything else, hit the streets. Things could get ugly. But let's move on to number 6 for some more good news. Hey, before I do that, if you enjoy my content, you can subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below, or give my video a thumbs up. I sure would appreciate that. Now, number 6, more good news, like I promised, pandemic and disease. Now, it's not like we haven't had that already, right, in the last 2 or 3 years. That is a real prospect moving into the future. It seems like these pandemics, the latest one is monkeypox. I mean, who knows where this stuff is going to lead, but it seems like the world is becoming more diseased, having more pandemics than any time that I ever remember, again, during my 52 years on this planet. But let's move on now to number 7. And this one also is already happening. You just don't know about it because the wealthy, who this relates to, control most of the media. Concentration of wealth, like no other time in the history of the United States, or the world for that matter, has there been such a concentration of wealth in the upper 1%, half of 1%, 0.101 of 1%, however you want to manage it or measure it, the bottom line is this very the sliver of rich people at the very top own more of the assets of the world than any other time in history. If I have this correct, and there's a ton of stunning statistics if you really want to dig into this, but one that again, if I have this correct, the 3 richest people in the United States, I think at the time it was Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and Jeff Bezos. At one point, those 3 people owned as much assets, had as much assets between the 3 of them as the bottom 50% of the country. Now we're done. No more negativity. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we are good people. We want what's good for the world, but we have to be aware of the potential challenges we might be facing. None of those 7 factors, none of those 7 situations are good, right? But we didn't necessarily create any of them ourselves. We got to be ready. And one potential way we can be ready is by investing in precious metals. Basically, all of those factors, all of those challenges, none of them are new. They've happened over the last 6,000 years, many, many times, each and every one of them. And during that 6,000-year period, it's important to remember that silver and gold provided safe refuge during times of crisis. Gold has always been valuable, and it's always been valuable everywhere. So as we navigate the future, let's remember that if we're invested in precious metals, we've taken out an insurance policy, or we've made an investment that will enable us to weather almost any storm that can be thrown at us. Hey, I hope you enjoyed my video. I'm glad you joined me here in Ron's Basement. You are always welcome here. And until next time, be well.